God of War's reboot was a stroke of genius from Sony, bringing back one of their most popular mascots and rewriting his character to be more mature, engrossing, and multi-layered than ever before. The 2018 reboot of this hack-and-slash franchise was one of the PS4's best games, and cemented this console's place as one of the best fans could own. The release of its sequel was a landmark moment for PS5 gamers as well, and players who want to enjoy more titles in line with Kratos' adventures have a wealth of options to choose from. What's going on, everyone? Jeffrey here, welcome to Game Rant. In this video, I'll be showcasing 10 fantastic action games to check out if you happen to be a fan of the God of War franchise. So let's hop into the list. Number 10, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. Leave it to Platinum Games when it comes to making ultra-stylish action-adventure titles. Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance had no business being as good as it is, with many people considering it to be one of the better games in the series. Controlling a cyborg Raiden and slashing enemies to bits never really gets tiring. It helps that the game always goes over the top with its set pieces, making every moment with this title an absolute blast. Number 9, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is an open-world adventure full to the brim with excellent combat, mind-bending puzzles, and gorgeous set pieces to boot. It might not be the first title that comes to mind when thinking of games like God of War, but it's still a great shout-out regardless. Lara Croft's latest adventure might not have turned too many heads upon its release. However, any gamer worth their salt should check out one of the greatest Tomb Raider games ever made. Number 8, Dark Souls 3. The Dark Souls franchise revolutionized the ARPG genre. It put way more significance on patience and timing in a genre where things were getting more attack spam heavy. The newest God of War game is another one that likely took inspiration from this notion, opting to give Kratos a shield and a one-handed axe, instead of just starting the player off with the dual chain blades. Players in Dark Souls 3 have plenty of opportunities to come up with their ideal build. Things such as swords, spears, and shields are found under every rock, and each has its method for felling foes. One can even create a Kratos-themed build and hack adversaries apart with weapons similar to those found in God of War. Number 7, X-Men Origins Wolverine. A big part of what makes God of War such a fun game is the visceral nature of its combat. This is something that is replicated well in another highly underrated title. You guessed it, X-Men Origins Wolverine. This game flew under many people's radar due to the lackluster nature of its movie counterpart. However, players only need to check out a bit of X-Men Origins Wolverine to realize that its high-octane action gameplay and brutal combat is a blast that's highly reminiscent of God of War's glory years. Number 6, Alice Madness Returns. American McGee's Alice was one of the weirdest yet most fascinating games around. Sure, the gameplay might not have aged all that well, but the nightmarish nature of the world and its characters is something that still sticks with players long after they're done playing this game. This title received a sequel in Alice Madness Returns. While the gameplay might be slightly simplistic at times, the amazing narrative and characters more than make up for this. Number 5, Devil May Cry 5. If hacking and slashing foes out of the way is what a player desires, Devil May Cry 5 is a great choice. However, one of the biggest draws of this franchise, in conjunction with the stellar combat of course, is the vivid cast and deep storytelling. Dante and Nero's histories are steeped in fascinating lore, which allows the game to put forth unique and relevant kinds of enemies, all of which are a sheer joy to ravage with a flurry of devastating attacks. As the journey progresses, players will begin to empathize with the characters through charming dialogue, understandable motivations, and heartfelt moments profound enough that even a devil may cry. Alright, sorry, I had to throw that in there. Also, there are a ton of other hilarious, meme-worthy moments to enjoy in this game, so yeah, check it out. Number 4, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. The parallels that can be drawn between Hellblade and God of War are pretty obvious. Both games have hack-and-slash combat, are steeped in Norse mythology, and feature a brilliant story-driven experience. There's one big difference between both games, however, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice featured a tale that is more personal and, at times, uncomfortable to see unfold. The depiction of mental health is done excellently in Hellblade, making it a unique experience in every single way. Number 3, Dante's Inferno. Dante's Inferno is a great game that has been accused of being a God of War clone, but that isn't really necessarily a bad thing here. The game's violent take on this legendary poem was entertaining, if very dark at times. The combat and art style were particular highlights here. Now, it's a shame that more people don't talk about this game, since Dante's Inferno had some great things going for it. Right now, it's nothing more than a footnote in gaming history that only a few fans still rave about to this day. Number 2, Castlevania: Lords of Shadow. Many Castlevania fans were saddened to see that this beloved Metroidvania series was going down the path of a regular action game. However, for what it's worth, Lords of Shadow is a fun game to play despite the many gripes of hardcore fans. The title may seem slightly derivative of games like God of War and Shadow of the Colossus, but it wears its inspirations boldly on its sleeve. It's just a shame that Castlevania abandoned its Metroidvania roots to an extent, and it required an entirely new IP for this magic to come back once again. Here's hoping we get more Castlevania games, because gosh, I freaking love this series. And number 1, Darksiders 2. Darksiders 2 is an excellent action-adventure title that served as many people's introduction to the series. Despite featuring an amazing world and a compelling story, this game didn't manage to meet the sales expectations after being extremely costly to develop. Fans of God of War will find themselves right at home with Darksiders 2 and its mythological elements. It's definitely a shame that the sequel didn't elevate the status of the series, since Darksiders 2 was genuinely a great title. I really love this one. Please go play it, please. We need more Darksiders games. And there we have it, everyone. 10 truly top-notch action games to play if you happen to be a fan of the God of War franchise. Thank you so much for watching this video from Game Rant. Be sure to check out all sorts of other top-notch gaming content, including more lists, news, reviews, guides, originals, and so much more right here on Game Rant. Have a truly wonderful and happy day, everyone. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.